Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for some more Champions Cup. Now, these games are very important. The next two rounds will be absolutely crucial for how these sides finish. Now, the Bristol Bears, they find themselves in 5th, which means currently they would be taking part in the Challenger Cup series after the round of 16 has taken place, whereas Bordeaux, at the moment in Pool 1, they are sitting at the top of the bunch. The Bulls sitting in 3rd, but they are on the same points as Bristol, so whoever wins this game will leapfrog quite nicely at Ashton Gate and make their way a little bit closer towards their round of 16. But looking through at the starting lineups, a few familiar faces for the Bristol Bears. Mainly, probably talking point is Max Malins at number 15. Of course, at Saracens last year. Now finds himself slotting in at fullback for Bristol. Also in that fullback, Stephen Luatua. He's been a brilliant Bristol Bears player for a long time, and I look forward to seeing what he can do up against this tough South African side. And the Bulls, looking through at the Bulls, they've gone with a very strong side for the road. Johan Goosen at 10, really going to have to be the playmaker. Sebastian de Klerk and Sergio Peterson, a lot of pace out on the wing. And then Devin Williams at 15. To look forward to probably what he would have been hoping would have been a battle with Charles Piutau. But unfortunately, that does not get to happen. Instead, we will see him go head-to-head with Max Malins, which I feel like in some regards is just as good. So hopefully it is going to be an awesome matchup between these two sides. I haven't been a while, says Ryan. Welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. And we have got Ruth there in the comments. He said, come on, Bristol, let's do it. And yeah, like I said, a crucial game for these two sides. Now, I should also mention, two more sides are going head-to-head. One from France, that's a lie, one from England, and one from South Africa a little bit later on tonight. And that is going to be the matchup taking place between the Sale Sharks and the Stormers. Now, the Stormers at home in the Champions Cup have got a very good record, managing to beat La Rochelle. The Bulls have found themselves on the road quite a bit lately. Believe their last game that they did play in, they were also away from home, but looking through at their current form, they're doing all right. They're not a bad side, the Bulls. They will hopefully be able to continue going well. As you can see, just missing out to Lyon. They just missed out to the Stormers, but they did get themselves 3 wins in a row before that stage. One up against Connacht, one up against the Sharks, and one up against Saracens as well. So this group, it's heating up. It's very close. They've got one more game around the corner up against Bordeaux next week. For the Bulls, they want to be in that top 4. The higher up you are there, the better your qualifying games in the round of 16 are. So yeah, every point crucial. I think that both of these sides will probably chase that bonus point, although I feel like out of both of them, the more likely side to chase it is the Bulls, because they will want to play that aggressive rugby that does get them a lot of points. We've seen them in the URC be successful. Looking through at how they are sitting, they are currently in 6th, but as you can see, that points differential is absolutely insane compared to some of the sides around them. 110 more points scored than Edinburgh throughout the URC season. Now, that can also be put down to their strong defence, though, and the Bristol Bears will have to try and pierce through that throughout this contest. Could be easier said than done. They're sitting around the middle as well. Bristol, in fact, a little bit closer to the bottom, sitting on those 25 points, just 5 wins, 6 losses. They'll be looking for a big win here at their home stadium. We have got there, hi Hamish, trust all is good. And hi guys, says Arthur Harrison, welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well, mate. Hope you're excited for these Champions Cup games that are taking place. They are just John, Sergio Peterson, Sebastian de Klerk, and Devin Williams, the back 3 for the Bulls. I mentioned how dangerous those men will be, but I think also quite important to mention is that loose forward trio. Marcel Kurtzia, alongside him, Elric Lowe, and also Guamedi at number 8. It's an absolute tank of an individual, but Max Malins, he's making his way out onto the field with already a black eye, so I feel like he's had a hard training day in some time recently. We have got high Arthur, says Ryan, and there as well, but to lead out the Bristol Bears, it will be Stephen Luatua, Marcel Kurtzia, the man to lead out the Bulls. Away from home, they almost did it up against Lyon. They'll consider themselves, I'd say, almost favourites up against this Bristol Bears side, although it has to be said, in this Champions Cup thus far, we've seen a lot of English sides actually doing very well. Northampton, they were the only side to have 3 wins from 3. I believe that has now changed due to the games that have taken place earlier on and today, but yeah, 3 from 3 for the Northampton Saints. Bristol Bears, they are sitting 1-1, so they wouldn't mind another victory in that column for that man, Pat Lamb. We'll be coaching them, I think, for another 4 years. He was in a big contract deal. Both of these sides just about ready to go for this contest. Do let me know your score predictions in the comments as well, ladies and gentlemen. Mathieu Raynel will be the referee in charge of this one, the French referee. I think this might be the first game that I've actually covered with Mathieu Raynel since the World Cup, if I'm correct. So it's been a little while since we've seen him in action, but we are almost ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. Countdown is on for another match of the Champions Cup, and it will be the Bristol Bears kicking off from right to left to get us underway. It is put up high, and we are ready to go, and it is not claimed cleanly by either side, but it is a knock-on there from the Bristol Bears, number 2, Ogre, I believe his name is pronounced. I'm a little bit rusty with some of these Premiership teams, but it is going to be Ambroise Papillon who puts the ball up high just outside of his own 22, and it is swirling in the air, and another knock-on there from the Bristol Bears. So that is 2 very early on this time. It is McGinty who cannot quite hang on to it. Will be the scrum feed for the Bulls. I think that the Bulls, similar to what we've seen when they do play up against South African sides, will want to start quick, because the more points that they can get on the board early, the more momentum they can create, and that is normally when they are the most dangerous. They don't really like those low-scoring games, mainly because, as you've seen in some of those recent fixtures, if they can't quite get that bonus point, they sometimes end up on the wrong side of the victory. Oh, it's actually going to be a Bristol Bears scrum feed. There must have been a knock-on from the Bulls before McGinty dropped it. Now McGinty gets the chance to feed the ball in, but we are currently only 1 minute into this contest. Already got the first scrum. Hopefully that is not a sign of things to come in this contest. That one doesn't look like it's come out clean. A massive push there from the Bulls. They will win the penalty at scrum time. Just a little mistake made by the Bristol Bears that ends up costing them. And Kutsia and his 4-pack has certainly made a statement in the first scrum of the contest. Now Johan Goosen will be able to kick this one towards the touchline. Penalties conceded at the scrum. They've got the 1-0 already up on the screen, but decent kick from Goosen to get them down into the half of Bristol. Looked like it was just the hook. Either ended up hooking it into his own foot or one of the lock's feet. And it did stop the ball from coming out, and that allowed the Bulls to really create their momentum, and nicely taken by Ludwig. Number 5, and already the rolling maul for the Bristol Bears. Trying to break away off the back was Jan-Hendrik Wessels. Nice offload from Papier, but it's knocked on by Sergio Peterson. Looks like Bristol have actually decided to take this one quickly. Risky tactic, but it has created some space on the outside for them to be able to run into. Little grubber attempted, though it looks like it will sit up on the halfway line for Devin Williams. Tackled well by, I believe that would have been Matoye. Now Johan Goosen fires it across. They are currently just inside of their own half, the Bulls. Little chip in behind. Looks like it could find some success if it bounces right. It does not, though. Max Malins does wait for it and does manage to clean it up. Now AJ McGinty goes across to Stephen Luatua. You don't normally see him running too often. Instead, normally he is helping set up and also getting those breakdown cleanouts. Nice run forward in the midfield here from Jansi van Rensburg. That is, of course, for the Bristol Bears, I should mention. A few van Rensburgs floating around in South Africa. Big shot on Luatua. 2-man tackle, Ludwig involved. Now Malin plays first receiver, managing to find the offload here. The Bristol Bears, their backline's looking crisp at the moment, but the Bears have not quite been able to get through as of yet. Now Ibatoye tries it. It might be a deliberate knock-on. And yes, it is going to be called as one. So now the penalty goes the way of the Bristol Bears. I think they are just trying to work out whether or not he deliberately knocked that one away. I think it was more of the case if he was just in the process of making the tackle and slapped it with the fingers. Unfortunately for him, a good shot on Luatua. It was actually Ludwig, like I mentioned, as well as Elric Lowe, which is just not what you want to run into if it's one of your first carries of the morning. Now 4 minutes into the contest, the line-out for the Bristol Bears just inside of their 22. So some players already taking relatively deep breaths. It has been a frantic pace to start this contest off, but now throwing it in nicely, taken by Luatua off the line-out. Breaking off the back, AJ McGinty tries to find that next pass, and it has been stripped out of the hands of Batoye. A little bit of a loose carry. Now chance for Gerhard Stennekamp, and Bros Papier goes across to Creel. Little grubber there from Sebastian de Klerk. Sits up for Sergio Peterson. Does the chip and chase, but it sits nicely for the Bristol Bears, number 14, Noah. There you go, junior Olympic sprinter for South Africa, and Sergio Peterson, not exactly a bad man to have out on the wing. Caulfield taken down 25 metres from the line. Trying to trap Gerhard Stennekamp in the breakdown. He's saying, referee, I'm trying to get out of here. Now McGinty rolls it back. Yeah, these two sides, I don't think they're going to be able to match this pace for the full 80 minutes. Already starting extremely quick. That ball's gone up nicely. Sergio Peterson managing to claim it, and the big fend on Luatua allows space to start opening up for the away side. Although straight on to the ball there for the Bristol Bears. They've said that it is the penalty to the Bulls. I think it was for Ibitoye not quite getting away out of that breakdown in time. So this is an easy 3 points if they want it. Now, I should mention in the starting lineup, they have gone with Johan Goosen rather than Chris Smith. There were a few issues in terms of when to bring on Smith, when to take Smith off, and a couple of their recent fixtures. An evening, Hamish, back in Muscat. Happy New Year, my friend. Hope that you have a good 2024. Says Josh, right back at you, mate. It is great to have you here once again. Now, you have to remind me of time zones. What time is it in Muscat at the moment? Do let me know. I think it's a decent hour, isn't it? Like a early afternoon, maybe, or morning. And now Johan Goosen to line up the first kick of the contest for the Bulls. This will actually give them the lead in this matchup, and it has gone over for Goosen. Now making the score after 6 minutes, 3-0 in favour of the VODACOM Bulls. I'll be relatively happy with that start, I would say. Mainly because Bristol have been the main side that has been attacking in this case, but they have been able to keep them relatively low in terms of the amount of metres they've been able to make, and currently 7:22. Okay, so I went 3 hours back, should have gone 3 hours forward by the sounds of it. Now nicely taken by Eldrick Lowe, just inside of the 22. It's actually been taken outside now, so won't be able to find the touch on the full for Ambrose Papi, although his last kick that he did only go about those 15 metres. So he is going to be taking his time here. There we are, it has been put up high towards that 40-metre line. Sergio Peterson jumped early. I think he actually took the man out there, although it looks like it's going to be a knock-on. And it will be the Bristol Bears ball. Now at scrum feed, he is not happy with that. I think that's Sebastian de Klerk who went up for that one. Noah Heward. Like he might have some sort of injury here. I think he just got winded in the way that he landed. He kind of went up for it, fell sideways, which never goes well, unfortunately. No matter how much you try. Oh, he's out for 4 months. Oh, no, that was in 2021, 2022 with an ankle injury. That seems like a weird stat to put up 2 years after he's been injured. Surely he's scored some tries since then, hasn't he? Or is this his first game back? There's Pat Lamb. Of course, a lot of responsibility on his shoulders to try and get the Bristol Bears up a little bit higher than 8th. Now, they are sitting on 25 points in the overall premiership table. They would love to be able to leapfrog a few of these other sides. They've got Leicester, Saracens. The fact that those are the two sides just above them show you how, I guess, either competitive or how many upsets we have had in the premiership this year. Whereas for the URC, the Bulls find themselves in 6th, and I mentioned about it before the match, that points differential, 112. Massive for them. But the Bristol Bears taking the quick tap after the free kick was conceded. At scrum time, Julian has said hello, welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. Hope you're excited for not just this game, but also the game a little bit later on, Sale Sharks taking on the Stormers. I think that's the first attack and run we've really seen from AJ McGinty. Trying to get into that breakdown. Almost stealing it with Harold Foster. Now going for the little grubber behind. Max Malins was slightly blocked or slightly impeded, which meant didn't quite get the acceleration he was after. Nicely done by the big Bristol Bears. Lock on the halfway line. Almost driven a touch by Johan Goosen. He's opted for no headgear today, I should mention. Does normally have it on. Now going to the short side. Marmy, and that's a bad deliberate knockdown from Goosen. And that is actually the second time that we have seen that from the Bulls. It is going to be the penalty, but at some stage soon, if they have any more of those, you would think that the referee, oh, here we go. They're going to have a look at this one on the TMO because it was a lot more blatant than the first knock-on that we saw. Yeah, you could argue they've got numbers on the outside. This might end up being 2 overlap players. Jan Hussen could find him. Yeah, he's going to the bin for 10 minutes here. That is not what the Bulls wanted at this stage of the contest. We have got Hi Hamish, says Vishal, welcome in. Johan Hussen. I just mentioned about the fact that he didn't have the headgear on. Unfortunately, he didn't quite have the head on there, or the brain on, because that was a silly penalty to give away. And now Bristol, they have got the man advantage. They've got some pace on the outside. Noah Heward, when he hasn't been taken out in the air, he's normally pretty quick. Oh, sounds like subs already. Number 7. So that's either Eldrick Lowe, or is that 7 players in the lineout? It might be 7 players in the lineout. We might be all right for subs at this stage. Now Marmion going with the Pearson run off the back. Oh, Ebatoye almost ended up giving the ball back to the Bulls. He has already done it twice so far in this match, but now 5 metres out from the line. The Bristol Bears, nice attack and run here. Lua Tua, 2 metres out. This is when they can strike with a man advantage. Nice, beautiful run from Bradbury, but the ball goes backwards. Nicely cleaned up there from Graham Slaw. 1 metre out from the line again here for the Bristol Bears. Marmion, there's a lot of pressure on him, but he manages to get the pass away to Max Malins. He's looking for space. There just isn't any, though. That is why the Bulls have also got their plus 112 points differential, because their defence just does not budge at times. Now, Marmion, the ball's popped out the side, and the Bulls have got the counter-attack. It's kicked downfield by Richard Creel, and back to David. Malins does manage to get back. Ebatoye, little bit of pressure on him by Ambrose Papier, showing some of his pace, but he hasn't quite been able to catch him. Beautiful offload on the inside from Ebatoye. There weren't a lot of arms in that tackle attempt from Marcel Kutsia. They might look at the replay of this one, but it is for now going to be the scrum feed for the VODACOM Bulls. But brilliant defence. 1 metre out from their line. They did not decide that they were conceding yet. And all right, boss, how's it going, brother? Says Sebastian, welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. And yeah, I hope you're enjoying the rugby. All decent hours. The Quins, they are playing Cardiff, I think, in a few hours' time, aren't they? At about 5 or 4.5 hours' time, I think it is. An average road game number 2, New Zealand versus Pakistan, T20 International tomorrow at Hamilton Seton Park. Says Vishal, they certainly are. And also the West Indies versus Australia series is starting up relatively soon. We will be covering that one on the channel. But Ebatoye managed to lure in 3 defenders in an individual run there. And unfortunately, from there, they did knock the ball on. Now, scrum feed here once more. 12 minutes into this contest, but the Bulls, this will be good for them because this uses up a little bit more time that they don't have all 14 men on the field. Now, I'm curious to see who actually slots into that fly half role. I think that more than likely, David Creel will probably end up, or Devin Williams, one of those two anyway, will end up probably being first receiver alongside Ambrose Papier, who stays at half, unless, of course, they get the forwards to do a little bit more work and have Papier slot out to that fly half role. Now, ball being fed in here for the Bulls, and nice march forward. They've been strong at scrum time, and they get themselves another penalty advantage. Guamedi now crawling forward, and they will actually go back for the original penalty. And yeah, the West Indies team touring Australia and England this year can only do good for their test development. Says Sebastian, yeah, because we saw Australia-Pakistan, and yes, at times that series wasn't that close, but at other times, like Pakistan were competitive, which is what you want to see. You want to see a lot of these test sides that don't so much perform overseas start to find some momentum. Like West Indies, I'll be honest, I have no idea what to expect. We could see some test matches go 3 days. We could see maybe one go for the full 5, but yeah, Australia at the moment are just a very hard side to beat, the cricket side of things. But yeah, we will actually be in a slightly different setup by that stage. We got something planned. Hopefully it works out and the Wi-Fi behaves. That is the main thing at the moment. I've had Wi-Fi like maybe 5 hours a day, even though we got new Wi-Fi, so that's not good. That's all right. We've still got data just in case. And Bros Papier now going off to Marcel Coetzee, the captain. 20 metres out for the line here for the VODACOM Bulls. And hopefully we won't have a 2-day test like in Cape Town, bloody hell. I was looking forward to covering day 3 of that test, fun fact, on the channel. And same with Pakistan, Australia. I think I was going to be covering the day 4 evening session I had planned. And I just didn't get to because both of them ended early, which was a bit of a shame. It's hard for a test match to go 5 days, it would seem now. But New Zealand versus South Africa, that is around the corner too. Marcel Coetzee. Looks like there might be some sort of injury here for the VODACOM Bulls. So really they are playing with 13 men, looking more like a rugby league side at the moment. And Bros Papier now finally off that away to Jan Hendrik Wessels. And I have to say, he is an absolute unit of an individual for a number 2. Now getting there a little bit closer, Ludwig. And Bros Papier passing it off to the right. They're getting a bit close to the injured player here. Matthew Raynell might have to consider stopping this. I think that might be what the Bulls actually want. They want that scrum. Gerhard Stennekamp. Now nice attack and run from him. Going off to the right-hand side. Space opening up on the outside. Sergio Peterson. The pace down the wing. And he powers straight over the top of Noah Heward, who's already taken a few knocks throughout this contest. But Sergio Peterson and the VODACOM Bulls strike first at Ashton Gate. Second try of the Champions Cup for Sergio Peterson. When he gets that close to the line, you pretty much just close your eyes, hope he doesn't step you, and then more than likely get run over by him. That's what's happened here. He had the space on the outside. Fullback was covering. He's really thrown his head into the challenge, which, I mean, I wouldn't recommend because he's almost knocked himself out on Sergio's forearm. A great bit of work from the VODACOM Bulls. I hear TMO. I'm not sure what the TMO... Surely there's nothing there. Sergio Peterson, when he did end up getting them right in next to his body, so that won't be that. So I think it was just checking for that last pass, whether or not it was for. But now 10-0 for the VODACOM Bulls with the kicker, David Krill, being successful. Good morning, Amish. I'm back. Long time no see. Are in for a great game of rugby. What is your score prediction? Will you cover the Stormers and Sale Sharks game? We certainly are doing Stormers and Sale. And go the Bulls, says Helen. But I honestly think if the Bulls play like they have throughout the URC, they are going to be a hard side to beat. The fact that they have 10 points on the board, even though throughout that first 10 minutes, they hardly got to attack, tells you that they mean business today. So I'm thinking like the Bulls by 15. Maybe even more if Bristol aren't able to find their momentum at some stage soon. Now, they've still got a man advantage for the next 2.5 minutes. So maybe that is when we see Bristol get back into it. But currently the Bulls are just running rampage, which is not a good sign for the Bristol Bears. Currently 20 metres out from the line. And Bros Papier once again will roll this ball back for the VODACOM Bulls. This all uses up that little bit more time on the yellow card of Johan Goosen as well. The ball's put high. Sergio Peterson goes up for it. Doesn't manage to take it cleanly. I believe there was a knock on, or no. I think they've actually said it's gone backwards. So it is going to be play on. Still the Bulls ball. Off to Marcel Coetzee. Like I mentioned, up by the 10 points already in this contest, which is exactly the start that the Bulls would have been after. Not quite the yellow card, but the rest, it's gone well. A lot of running meters already for Sergio Peterson, who has been chasing every kick that has been put high. Speaking of kicks, that was one from the Bristol Bears, or taken by the Bristol Bears by Max Malins, and they will get the penalty in the breakdown for not rolling away. I think Eldrick Lowe is the man who has been penalised there, so not quite getting out of that breakdown in time. We're going to how's it, Hamish? All the best for 2024, says Giovanni. You too, mate. Hopefully you guys have been able to keep your New Year's resolutions going. I can't even remember what mine was. I know it sounds kind of morbid, but I think it was just be alive in 2025. So I'm doing all right at this stage. Still here. And now it's going to be the line-out throw for the Bristol Bears on the 22. Ball slapped back. Knocked back by Marmion. Now, Matthew Raynell almost has to make the tackle there. He's done very well to evade that, because or else that could have been quite bad. But the man, big shot coming in from the Bulls defence. And that is something that I mentioned earlier on about how strong they are in their two-man tackles. They don't allow any freedom for the attacking side. Nice work from Jansi van Rensburg, though. Move up to 15 metres out from the line. Still 30 seconds remaining of the yellow card of the Bulls. And this is the perfect time for Bears to be able to score. Luatua manages to get that ball. It is a tackle. Guamedi. Now McGinty. Cross again to Caulfield. And just through 2024 to play GTA 6 in 2025. Yeah, I know a lot of people are excited. Oh, that's a good run. That is exciting. He almost dropped, but he has managed to hang on to it for Kieran Marmion. I was about to say a lot of people are excited for GTA 6, even though it is quite far ahead, but it will be here before we know it. It's like the World Cup. Like 2027, it's not that far away now. It's still quite far, but we're getting closer. But nice bit of work from the Bristol Bears. I mentioned that they had to get that next try before flat pass. We love a flat pass at the moment in World Rugby, but one is going to be all right. Nice sell of the dummy. Man, I want a cheesecake now. I don't know why, but that try replay. Just thoughts that you have at 4:36 a.m. here in New Zealand. I'm going to ask you guys in the chat as well. Favourite flavour of cheesecake while this kick is being taken. 20 minutes into this contest, but the first try of the match for the Bristol Bears. Now, Kieran Marmion, he did have a few little juggles of the ball there, but he's just managed to hang on to it. AJ McGinty now has 27 seconds to line up this kick. Okay, the French TMO is having a bit of a chat to Matthew Reynel. He's probably telling him that was almost a good tackle attempt from Reynel before, but that kick has gone over, and now it makes the score at 7 points to 10 in favour of the VODACOM Bulls. Now, they are back to 15 men on the field now. Johan Goosen returns from the bin. The damage, I don't think, has been done. I think that they're still in a very good position here, the Bulls, but it does help my Bulls by 15 look a little bit better. I tried a Sicilian lemon cheesecake a couple of years back, easily the best I've ever had. Says Water fan, or Water... I always put that round the wrong way, don't I? A Water Sports fan. Sicilian lemon cheesecake. Okay. I don't think I've ever had a lemon cheesecake, to be honest. I got a lemon tree. Mixed berry cheesecake, yeah, good choice. Can't go wrong with a chocolate cheesecake either, unless you don't like chocolate, of course. Then it's probably the last one that you want. 22 metres out for the line, rolled back now again for Marmion, the try scorer. Inside of his own 22, so he will be able to put this ball out on the full if he so decides to. Yep, has gone out, nice kick. Downfield from Marmion, and now the Bulls about 41 metres out will have themselves another attacking line-out chance. Set plays, somewhere that they are extremely dangerous when you've got a guy like Jan-Hendrik Wessels with the line-out throws. That you can easily see why. Not really a bad man. Have thrown the ball in for them. Definitely not with his running game. That was almost stolen. I slightly jinxed them there, but Giovanni... Oh, in fact, it's not Giovanni. You are Giovanni in the chat talking about the mixed berry cheesecake, but it was instead Ambrose Papier who managed to claim that one. Now, Elric Lowe, couple extra metres made. Papier goes off to the left-hand side. It's going to be put high from Johan Goosen towards the 22. Malins has to go up for it once again. Not really taken cleanly by the Bristol Bears, and it goes back to Harold Foster. That is one element of the Bristol Bears games that they have got very wrong so far throughout the first 22 minutes. Now bounce pass goes out to Devon Williams. One more pass on the outside. Sebastian de Klerk cuts back inwards, but he has been taken down this time. The replacement number 23 had his hands down for a little bit. He doesn't manage to win the penalty. Almost ended up conceding one, but I believe that will actually be for Noah Heward, who had a very tough start to this game. Took a couple knocks. The penalty goes the way of the Bulls, going in off their feet for the Bristol Bears. Quick tap taken by Elric Lowe, but he wasn't on the mark. There's a little bit of aggression out there on the field at the moment coming from Lowe as well as Jan-Hendrik Wessels. They wanted that quick tap, just not quite on the mark. Is that a dragon from Julian? I think it is. That one has been kicked into touch now. 5 metres out from the line, Jan-Hendrik Wessels with another line-out opportunity for the VODACOM Bulls. It's going to be an extremely interesting scenario here. Because the Bulls, it's actually a penalty to the Bears. What I was about to say is the Bulls rolling maul normally makes a lot of meters, and when you've only got 5 to work with, you can find yourself conceding quite often. But obstruction in the line-out, or at least the rolling maul side of things, actually means that the Bears get themselves the penalty. That relieves some of the pressure that they could have been under. Only 16 minutes remaining. This first half, it has been absolutely flying. I should mention, ladies and gentlemen, we have got the Champions Cup game coming just around the corner between the Stormers and the Sale Sharks. Now, that one should be a very entertaining game. I think a little bit more one-sided, although saying that, Sale Sharks have actually been in some pretty decent form as of late with some of their previous fixtures. Speaking of form, anyone wondering about the Bristol Bears and what they have been able to do in their recent fixtures, they were able to beat Sale. So, very decent performance there. And then also defeated by Exeter, beating Newcastle. So, Premiership Rugby at the moment is extremely close, as shown by that table that we saw with Saracens and Leicester finding themselves in 6th and 7th. Yeah, Bristol, Lyon, that was an absolutely awesome game going right down to the wire. They were beaten by Bordeaux, who currently look like a real top contender in this group, sitting on the 2 wins from 2 with the points differential of plus 55. Now that ball is loose, nicely slapped back up for Marmion. And the Bristol Bears looking to make the most of another attacking opportunity. The Bulls, like they said, they've had their chances. They have really shown why they are a top contender in the URC already. There's going to be accidental offside, so the penalty was going to be going the way of the Bulls. It's a loose ball. It's actually knocked on there, so I believe it will be a line out now for the Bristol Bears, as it was only going to be an accidental offside rather than a penalty. Now actually taking it quickly, and Ibitoye left with no choice but to kick this one back down the middle of the field. That leaves a lot of space open for the Bulls. They thought about the 50-22 for a bit, but then when you've got Sergio Peterson with you, you might as well be running that ball. Now nice work from Devin Williams. Little chip in behind. The ball is loose. It sits up. Great pickup from Ludwig. And he goes down and gets himself the try. Stormers, yes, says Julian, but brilliant work from the VODACOM Bulls there. They will check this. First order, made sure he was behind the kicker. And secondly, they will check the grounding. I know there is a clear grounding after he is rolled over, which I believe is still all in one motion, so he should be completely fine. But does he lose the ball? Nah, he certainly does not. Oh, hang on. Actually, from this angle, it looks like the big man's wrist just isn't quite as flexible. Yeah, that's actually a knock on in that case. So pretty much what's happened there is he has got the ball under here, and then unfortunately the wrist just didn't bend the way that he needed it to. Okay, they need to check the grounding. Has been messaged to Matthew Reynell. Tell you what, Renard Ludwig, he's an exciting prospect for the Bulls in the future. He may not score this one, of course. Yeah, that is separation. Oh, now, here we go. Pretty much they have said he drops the ball backwards, which then, although, in that case, if he's knocked it backwards, he's then playing the ball on the ground, is he not? Maybe. I could be wrong there, but I would think if he has knocked it backwards and he's in a prone position, is that allowed? I don't know the rules well enough, I'll be honest. There's like little rules. There's no knock on, but there is a loose ball that he is then played on the ground. Maybe. With his left hand, he presses the ball. I think it is going to be a try. And I might just be making up a rule, to be honest, in terms of the not allowed to play the ball on the ground if you've dropped it. But I'm not a ref. That I think I don't want to be. Like they're saying they think it could end up being a try. James Williams. He's got his hand on that ball. I think, this is such a weird one. Because both players have an argument to say that they have put that ball down first. One of them is on attack. One of them is on defence. They've just said there, the on-field decision was try, so they need clear and conclusive evidence that Ludwig has not scored this. So he still hasn't got downwards pressure. And then James Williams, has he got enough of that before Ludwig? On-field decision is try, like they've mentioned. Okay. We're about to hear. Okay. So they've said there was clear separation, but then Ludwig was able to press the ball down. But it is a goal line dropout. Okay, that was weird. So they pretty much said that the Bulls... Okay. Okay, so Matthew Reynell has pretty much said because Ludwig wasn't able to put his hand on the ball, putting downwards pressure, and James Williams was able to, that is why it's a no try. That is one of those ones, though, that easily both sides could have been upset after it took place. So, yeah, I think the Bulls, they're unlucky. The Bristol Bears, maybe they could be considered the lucky side in that scenario, but at the end of the day, they will still be on attack for a little bit later in this first half. Currently sitting 10 points to 7, an extremely close one between these two sides. Both sides having their individual moments of brilliance. Now McGinty just trying to get as much distance on this drop kick as he can. Goes down to about 45 metres out. Here comes Gomedi. Okay, Rich Lane is going to be staying out there. That is due to the failed HIA of Noah Hedward. They were just shown recently that he has returned from an injury. Oh, that sounded like a player screeching on the ground there. I think that was Luatua, who might have some sort of injury, but it did not sound good. It kind of sounded like a scream of, ow, I've done something bad. Now, Johan Goosen going back across now to the right-hand side. Luatua slowly making his way back up to his base. Almost stolen the breakdown. Jansi Fans Rensburg gets the clean steal. Now going to the short side. Not a lot of space to work for Marmion. And unfortunately just outnumbered in terms of the size, but they did still have that knock-on advantage. In fact, it's a penalty for not releasing now. I thought Reynell didn't end up giving that advantage in the end, but he has gone back for it. And now we get to find out what happened to Luatua that made him wince and let out that screech. But yeah, it didn't sound good. It sounded like the kind of screech that you hear when you've either really twisted something the wrong way. Bristol Bears, they've had some brilliant offloads throughout this first 28 minutes. I feel like the Bulls have been the more physical side, but, oh no, Luatua looks like he's fine. He's just chilling. 7 Samoa caps and 15 tests for New Zealand for the captain of the Bristol Bears. Yeah, it sounded like he had some sort of quite serious injury and then he's just got up like nothing happened. So, I guess I was very wrong in that case. Now the line-out throw going over the top, nicely taken by Bristol, who look for a bit of a set play here. Marmion looping around was Jansi van Rensburg. Trying to play this one at pace. Gomedi has to make the tackle there on the inside centre. James Williams, who saved his side a try at the other end of the field. Maybe now can score themselves. Oh, he's just dropped the ball forward, actually, James Williams. I jinxed him there. It will now be the scrum feed for the Bulls. Getting it slightly wrong. So 11 minutes remaining. I will say that TMO decision did slow us down a little bit in terms of the smoothness that this game was running. There is another game taking place at the exact same time as this game, though. We will go like this. We'll find the score. Now, I should mention anyone who does not want to know the score of that game, I will give you a little warning so you can cover your ears so you don't hear what is happening in that other contest. But yeah, there was another game that has taken place at the same time as this one. It is the matchup between Toulon and Munster. And the score, 3-2-1, block ears if you don't want to hear it. It's currently 10 points to 3 in favour of Toulon. There we go. I know some people like to watch the full matches without knowing, so yeah, that's why we try and do it slightly secret. But that is going to be the penalty to the Bulls at scrum time. They have been extremely strong in that department. Wilco Low in the front row making his opposition stand up. And now Johan Hussen, again, will be able to kick this one towards the touchline. That is the third scrum that the Bulls have been able to win for themselves. And one of them not even their feed. Last Springbok cap was actually in August 2021. I have to wonder, is there going to be any chance for some of these older players in the future with such a strong Springbok squad currently? Getting harder and harder to make your way into the side. Definitely for props, I feel like they've got about 6 or so props at the moment that they're very happy with for the Springboks. Elric Lowe, though, could be a future Springbok in that loose forward trio, perhaps. Some of the other players do get a little bit older. Should mention they're still going to have an extremely strong side in 2027. A lot of the same players as we saw in 2023's World Cup. That is brilliantly won there for Daniel Thomas. He was captain versus Bordeaux last month. That's a fun fact. And they actually managed to win that game by the 2 points. This game currently separated by 3. Now in the Champions Cup, you want to score yourself 4 tries in a contest, as that will give you the bonus point moving forward. And with how close these groups are, you want to be getting any sort of little edge over the opposition that you can. As you can see, Bordeaux at the top of the bunch, they have played 2 games and they have been able to get those 4 tries or more. Now, Wilco Lowe, I did notice at line-out time, he was holding his shoulder, leaving it next to his body. He's actually going off now. So I would say he's done some sort of maybe damage to it when he's come forward in that scrum. Perhaps when he's landed as well, just got tweaked. But if he had it before that scrum, it just shows how impressive he is that he managed to win it with one arm. Yeah, currently the Bulls and the Bristol Bears, both on 5 points, same as Saracens, who have got themselves a game up against, I believe it is Lyon in the near future, or it might actually be Bordeaux that they are playing. Yeah, Bordeaux Saracens is the game that's taking place tomorrow morning. There's going to be a loose ball. Nice running forward from Jan Hendrik Wissels. Andros Papier going off to the side to Marcel Kutsia. Papier rolling it back. Only 40 metres out from their own line here for the Vodacom Bulls. So just trying to make those few extra metres while they can. Sebastian de Klerk chasing after this one. Hasn't been able to line it up though. Instead it was actually Gerhard Stennekamp who was leading the chase. Little chip in behind from McGinty. Has he been taken out? Referee says play on. Now Devon Williams looking for the 50-22. Although I hear the referee in the ears, but it is going to be going right back to where Williams kicked it from. Got a bit too much on that one. And don't get me wrong, like that's good for the Bristol Bears, but scrum time has been somewhere that they have been struggling. So maybe it's not such a good thing in some regards. I should mention the next game of the Champions Cup that we are covering, ladies and gentlemen. It is starting in 1 hour and 30 minutes time or so, 1 hour 35. And that is the matchup between the Stormers. They're going head-to-head in the contest up against Sale Sharks. So that will be a very awesome game. High scoring, I believe. I think the Stormers beating La Rochelle in the final moments of their last Champions Cup game was just something that not many people saw coming. Even though the game was in Cape Town, it just seemed like they were down and out, but they managed to dig deep. They've been doing it recently as well in terms of getting themselves to close wins, having a recent win over the Stormers, winning 26 points to 20. We've currently got our drinks break by the looks of it out there on the field for the players. Won't be too long before the action is back underway. 6.5 minutes remaining in this first half, ladies and gentlemen. One moment. We'll go like this. We are good. Now, I should mention, although I don't want to jinx it, the hay fever hasn't been too bad today yet. So hopefully that hasn't just jinxed that completely. It looks like Bristol are going to be making another sub here. I mentioned about the pace that this game was playing, and unfortunately it's one of those cases of like neither side were going to be able to keep that tempo throughout the full 80 minutes, no matter how much they wanted to. Of course, like at the end of the day, they are individuals who will gas out eventually. Definitely, if you are joining a lot of breakdowns, we're actually seeing Lahith now make his way onto the field. That is for Kloska for the Bristol Bears. And Graham's Law also going off the field. That is for Woolmore. So a few changes being made there for the Bristol Bears at scrum time. They've decided that they need a new base because they have been conceding just too many tries. Or sorry, too many scrum penalties. Munster are losing 13 points to 10. They certainly are. But they are a little bit closer back into that game. They were down by the 7 points before when I was looking. Now Marmion about to feed this ball in for the Bristol Bears. Pat Lam looking the same as he always does. He doesn't really show a lot of emotion, Pat Lam. You either get him looking like he's angry, you get him looking like he's happy, but it's still the same face as looking angry. Looks like already we've had a little bit of a problem with the scrum since those two changes have been made for the Bristol Bears. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bulls can win themselves another scrum penalty here. Just because already having the 3 under their belt, although they too have had to make a change. Machunu now onto the field alongside Gurhan Steenekamp. Having to make the switch of their own might actually end up causing a little bit of disruption at scrum time for the rest of this first half. Now about to put the ball in for, oh no, penalty to the Bulls. We called it as well. You can make 2 changes. It's going to be, oh, okay, we've actually got time stopped here. That's an official warning. Now, that is not what you want to hear when you've just made 2 changes. The tight head. That's against Lahith. I think Lahith just trying to hear what it was actually for. Trying to work out if it was him that has been penalised. But Munster are winning 17-13. So he's got it. It only takes one moment for Munster to be able to get back into a contest. Very handy side. But that has been kicked downfield by the VODACOM Bulls. They are just showing Machunu. Though it wasn't on his side that they managed to get that penalty. It was actually Gerhard Steenekamp's side. He's just been an absolute, I guess the best way of describing it is nuisance for the opposition at scrum time. Now Jan-Hendrik Wessels. Just saying that the Bristol Bears are closing the gap a little bit. Now looking to throw this one in. Nicely taken by Ludwig. Now he was extremely close to scoring a try earlier on. He missed out in the end. Perhaps this time he might be able to get over the try line. David Creel tackle well on the 22-metre line by Williams. Now Ambrose Papier. Short ball up to Gerhard Steenekamp. It's available at the back again. Elric Lowe trying to pierce his way through the side, and it's stripped away by the Bristol Bears. But they're going back for an original advantage that I don't think anyone realised that the Bulls actually had. Matthew Raynell, he's keeping the advantages secret. He actually had one earlier on for the Bristol Bears that he didn't give us an advantage and then went back for the penalty. So I guess they're even in that regard now. Are you doing the Ulster versus Toulouse tonight? We will not be, no. Unfortunately, it does overlap with something we got on outside of the live streams. So we got the next game between the Stormers and the Sale Sharks. But yeah, we won't have Ulster's game, unfortunately. Now Jan-Hendrik Wessels. Have to throw this ball in. Nicely taken by Ludwig. And now looking to get this rolling ball going here for the Bristol Bears. The defence needs to be solid. The Bulls breaking off the back. Jan-Hendrik Wessels. Very good tackle made. And the penalty one for the Bristol Bears. And now Gerhard Stennekamp is starting to do a little bit of push and shove. If he's not careful, he's currently got him in side control. It's turned into the MMA side of things. He's going to put the leg over for full mount. No, instead he decides to release it. Yeah, he wasn't too happy about it, Gerhard Stennekamp, by the looks of it. Jan-Hendrik Wessels. I think it was actually Williams again who has managed to put his body on the line. Great tackle from McGinty. Yeah, it was just that big shot coming in from, I think it was actually Gerhard Stennekamp originally, and then it was Caulfield who was doing the push and shove with him. Last week was his first appearance in 3 months for AJ McGinty, so it's been a little while since we have seen that man in action, other than, of course, last week. Now that one's going to be kicked into touch. No, it doesn't find touch. Beautifully done by Johan Goosen, and now the counter-attacking chance for the Bulls. That is the last thing that the Bears wanted, although we've heard the whistle blow. We've heard it again. What is that one for? He might have been in touch there, possibly saying. Players are still going. Yes, he was just in touch for Johan Goosen, but that was the type of play that if he got it right and was able to just keep that ball in the field of play, it could have been a whole different story. I'd like to see a replay, though, to see how close Johan Goosen was to actually keeping that ball in. Because, we got time off at the moment. And also, mate, I'm struggling with my statistics mechanics assignment. I was looking for lectures on YouTube and saw you live. Guess I'm taking a break. Says Tatum there. I mean, it's good procrastination, isn't it? I feel like I'm the same, though. Anytime... Oh, that's a knock-on. It's nicely done by the Bristol Bears to be able to hang on to this one. Now, short pass. But yeah, it is good to have you here, Tatum. Hopefully, you are able to find what you need on YouTube. YouTube has so much weird stuff, but then also it has like the real helpful stuff. If you know where to look, that looks like it could be a turnover for the Bulls. Oh, Elric Lowe might have picked that one up from his knee, but the referee says, why not? Now it is Imbros Papia goes across to Johan Goosen. Harold Foster, we haven't seen a huge amount of that man throughout the first little while of this game. Devon Williams near the touchline does get knocked on by Sebastian de Klerk. And now the Bears, 10 metres out to the line with 90 seconds to work. That's a clothesline. Oh, okay. They're saying that he knocked it on anyway, but they may go back to check that tackle on Daniel Thomas because his head got cleaned up. And now big run from Elric Lowe. Sounds like they're saying that the clothesline was okay. At this stage, someone turned off high tackles in the settings. TMO said it was an accident. Although, we've seen accidents given as penalties. We've seen accidents given as red cards. So, luckily, for the Bulls, they aren't going to be down a man. Now Max Malins takes it near the touchline. Charges back at the defensive line. Does end up slipping in the end. And it's the penalty to the Bulls' side entry. Now they've got the last 40 seconds to be able to try and get themselves another try. Statistics mechanics, though. That sounds impressive, Tatum. So hopefully it is all going smoothly. On the Goosen, good kick towards the touchline. Didn't waste too much time. Wants to keep this game flowing. Sup says strike time down under. Welcome in, Amelia. You are doing extremely well too. 12 seconds remaining, and Jan-Hendrik Wessels has got himself another line-out throw. So Gerhard Stennekamp has told him exactly what the plan is. Now, if Bristol Bears manage to get this ball back, I believe they will be kicking it into touch. But they have not been able to do so. And now the Bulls are going to try and get that rolling maul going. They've had obstruction for one of their rolling mauls thus far, but now looks like this one is working quite nicely. Moving up to the 22-metre line now, and Brosa Papier goes off to Guimedi. And doing okay, I went to... I always say it wrong, so I just kind of skip over it. A few days ago, and the stage door I saw it snapped. and the Duke helped me calm down. Says Amelia, so hopefully you are doing all right now. That is the penalty to Bristol and the breakdown. Right now, more than likely they will take the tap and they will put this ball into touch, or there's a chance that they decide they want an attack here. Luatua says kick it out. Does he say tap it and kick it out? No, he says put the ball into touch. We want another attack and play. And that one has gone out. Now they will be inside. Oh yeah, the ref has been generous on the touchline there with the kick, which now means Bristol will more than likely have the last attack and play of this half. Big chance for the home side. Oh, Mbros Papier closed the gap. Thought they were going quickly. That's not very straight, but it is going to be all right. They have said now Marmion looping in behind Bristol Bears. Beautiful flat pass now offloaded. And once again, it's a little bit high. Oh, Daniel Thomas, loose ball. It's knocked on by the Bulls. And that'll be halftime, ladies and gentlemen. He went up to me and I hugged him because at the time I just needed a hug. Says Amelia, now he wants me to try and think of something positive daily until I see it for the last time around the 24th of January. Says Amelia. That was a strong sneeze. But halftime, 10 points to 7. Close game. It's reminded me though, Senior Amelia, Super Rugby is very close. Only about 40-something days away, I think it is. Somewhere around there. It should be a very entertaining competition. In fact, less than that. I think it's actually only about 35 days from the start of Super Rugby. I'm sure you will be well and truly behind your Rebels side throughout the year. Yeah, I'm excited for Super Rugby. It should be good as well. I feel like Super Rugby will give us a little bit more structure on the channel. At the moment, we're kind of floating around in terms of what competitions we are doing. We do a couple games of the Champions Cup, then a little bit of the URC, kind of mix and match. But yeah, Super Rugby, we are hoping to do a majority of the games on the channel, so be sure, keep an eye out for that. Tiana said thank you for the stream. No worries at all, mate. Thank you very much for being here. I am back. I think I did jinx it saying that I wasn't having any hay fever because quite quickly after that, I sneezed. Who do you support in Super Rugby? Would you believe me, Tian, if I said I was impartial? You probably wouldn't. I like the Hurricanes kit the most, but I'm from halfway in between the Crusaders and the Highlanders, like pretty much smack bang in the middle, which is why I feel like I'm a little bit more impartial than some people for Super Rugby. But like, I just love Super Rugby, to be honest. Like all the sides, whether it's an Australian matchup, New Zealand, Fijian draw, of course, they're becoming a lot of people's second teams because of the way that they go out there and play. So, yeah, I'd probably go... I don't know if I would say the Hurricanes is my all-time favourite. I've got a Hurricanes kit, though, because I like yellow. So that's pretty much the only logic in terms of that selection. We're going to go like this. We're going to go like this. I'm going to get you guys some stats to do with that first half. I missed the Rebels' first game of the year because I'm going to see the Rocky Horror Show that same night. I can't pull that off. Or I can't put that off. Says Amelia. But 10, who is your favourite team in Super Rugby? Do let me know. For this game, hopefully we're going to have a little bit in terms of stats. There we go, match stats. I might try making a new video ranking all the Rebels' new signings for the season. It'll be an interesting one. So far, we've seen one try apiece. And attacking-wise, this is surprising, but not really. The Bulls, they have had an extra about 40 metres carried throughout this game with 192 compared to the 149 of the Bristol Bears. The Bears have actually had 7 clean breaks compared to the 4 that we have seen of the Bulls, and also defenders beaten. The edges in favour of the Bristol Bears, 14 defenders beaten compared to the 12 of the Vodacom Bulls. Possession, I believe, is pretty 50-50. Territory is a little bit in favour of the Bulls, but only by a couple percent, actually sitting 52% in their favour. Tackles made, extremely even. 64 for the Bears, 63 for the Bulls. So both of these sides will be relatively similar in terms of the amount of fatigue that they have felt. Also, both given away 8 penalties. So this has been a very even game, and the scoreboard probably represents that pretty well. I'm thinking for Super Rugby going all 3 days, sort of doing like a face cam, like interviewing fans around Amy Park. Says Amelia, could be a cool video, mainly because there's not many, I guess, Super Rugby fans in Melbourne, only because, like, no offence to the Rebels, no offence to the Super Round, but is it the right place to do it every year? Hard to say. And Bulls must play better. Says Joseph, well, the good news is both of these sides are still in the hunt for a possible victory here. I'm South African, so I don't really support someone but my favourite is the Chiefs. Says 10, that's a good call. Chiefs, very good side. Turned around drastically over the last few years. I'm about to sneeze, so I'll mute myself. We are good. Hopefully. I did jinx it though. Unfortunately, I did say that I wasn't having too much hay fever, and ever since I said that, I've been sneezing flat out. And I want to make Super Rugby Super Round enjoyable this year, says Amelia. Currently, they are actually showing some highlights of the Sevens. Now, I should mention the Sevens is just around the corner. We are covering the Perth Sevens. It's taking place the last weekend of January. I'm getting some of my mates and possibly going get my own Rebels active up and running, but this time it's done my way. Now, I think it should be done, says Amelia. Yeah, the Perth Sevens just around the corner. We're covering the Blitzbox games. Argentina, Fiji, Samoa, New Zealand, Australia, Ireland, you name it. It's going to be coming on the channel as well. And then also we've got a little bit of cricket starting up next week. It's going to be the matchup between Australia and the West Indies. I was hoping to do a little bit of the T20 of New Zealand's games, but once we get the new setup, that will be a lot more doable. Mainly because over the last, I'd say probably 3 weeks of cricket that has been on, I've just been watching it with my parents, which, like, has been good. But in terms of being able to stream it, I probably have to find that other location, which we are working on currently, to be able to do it effectively. Do you watch UFC? I certainly do. Big one coming up soon. Sean Strickland, Drakus du Plessis. Are you backing your man Drakus, Tian? And also, are there, that wasn't a sentence. Are there any other South Africans on that card, by the way? Because, of course, we've still got the one next week, Ankalaev, or this weekend, versus Johnny Walker. The first match of that was a bit unfortunate, mainly because Johnny Walker just ate that knee, forgot he was in the UAE, and then it got called as a no contest. We have got Drakus easy win, says Bhavani. And also, Xavier wants to join. That's his choice, because it's water under the bridge for me, because it's up to him. Whether he wants to be friends or not, that's his choice. And the Bulls win, says Bhavani. And also, South Africa versus New Zealand would be nice, says Joseph. It will be. And we are actually covering that test match on the channel as well, so be sure, keep an eye out. Arnold Allen's on that card. I do see Neil Magny. He always gives you a good fight. Brad Katona, winner of the Ultimate Fighter. The only other South African that we could have had was probably Salmon, but he's not there. Or Simon, sorry. We have got that DDP on top, says Tim. We might have to do a stream of that fight, perhaps. Do our live stream, the kind of watch along for it would be quite cool. Because, I mean, Drakus, to be honest, he looks hard to beat. I remember watching him, I think it was about 3 fights ago, one of his first ones in the UFC, even before he got to the stage of Adesanya and him having that whole thing. But, like, 20-2, his current record, and he just has power, he's got the wrestling. Tough man to beat. We have there, I remember not too long ago, guys complained about playing too much rugby. If you've got money, you can play 52 weeks of the year. Love the quality of the modern game, says Arthur. And April last year, I snapped. All he had to do was give me some time. I was ready to talk to him. I would have, but he didn't leave me alone and I snapped. And please do the stream, says Tian. Would you want to see the whole main card or just the main event? In terms of the watch along. I feel like, I mean, I could do the whole main card, but I think the one that everyone wants to really sit down and enjoy is Sean Strickland versus Drakus du Plessis. I haven't seen too much press in terms of what they've been doing. Those two. I know that they've had a few back and forths, but nothing that has hit substantially, I guess. Yeah, it'll be interesting because, of course, Sean Strickland actually fighting Israel Adesanya on slightly shorter notice. Drakus turned down that fight because he wanted to have a full camp. And now it's Strickland versus Drakus, which means if Drakus wins, you're probably going to see Adesanya versus Drakus. One of my mates over on the Cornflake, Jack Sheps, got banned on the Rugby 24 forum by a mod for starting a fight because all he wants is a good rugby game. Says Amelia, and of course that is not too far away, Rugby 24, from coming out. So hopefully we will be able to do some videos right from the get-go on that as well. And then, of course, alongside that, we've also got those sevens that I mentioned. We've got the URC Super Rugby Six Nations, also less than a month away. She's going to be a busy few months on the Kiwi Lads channel. We still ain't got no screenshots on it. Says right home down under. I've been told that it should be good, though, by an inside man. So I'll hopefully trust him. But we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, I'm more concerned about whether or not the release date is still going to be before the Six Nations. If the rules ain't in Rugby 24, then I'm not buying it, no point. Says Amelia, and also South Africa versus New Zealand, can't wait. Says Bhavani, yeah, that test match could be quite intriguing, to be honest, as well as New Zealand versus Australia. I am actually hoping to go to that up in Christchurch. I can use it as a slight excuse to go up there and then also hang out with Isaac as well, who did come down for Christmas. But yeah, hopefully we get to see him again in the near future. Might even take George to the cricket. I feel like he will hate it though. So maybe taking the parents might be the better option out of the two. Currently halftime in this contest, like I mentioned, relatively 50-50 in terms of some of the stats that we have seen from these two sides. Springboks will win again the World Cup, says Joseph Webber. I mean, we're a little way away from 2027, but very likely, to be honest, with the way that they were able to fight through that 2023 World Cup, their chances are pretty good. I've got there's three ways I don't buy a Rugby 24. Firstly, the rules aren't in it. There's no manager career. If there's no be a pro in the game, says Amelia. And also, who is winning the Six Nations in your opinion? For me, I think there are two sides, and they're France and Ireland. It's more of the question of who bounces back from their World Cup loss the best. Because Ireland have been very strong, but so has France. So whoever wins that derby, I honestly believe will win the Six Nations. And bless you, says I was here. So it's about the fourth sneeze on the stream, so we're starting to crank it up a little bit. The worst thing is, at 33 minutes, hay fever was fine. At 35 minutes, downhill it went. And thanks, bro. So you love the Springboks. I love it. Springboks in New Zealand. It's the best teams in the world, says Joseph Weber. I mean, that's the thing. We've covered a lot of South African rugby, whether that's the URC, the Rugby Championship, even the Curry Cup we have done on the channel before. So, like, I have a lot of respect for the South African sides, and it's quite cool seeing the players make their way up the rankings. One moment, I'm about to sneeze again. We are good. But yeah, like seeing the young players from the Curry Cup make their way up through and become future Springboks is pretty awesome. It's the same with New Zealand, seeing the youngsters like Cam Roigard have a phenomenal season for the Hurricanes and then go on to make the ABs. We have got the ARFA with the gifted membership. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated once again. I just show them there. The first test will start Wednesday on Sky Sport for New Zealand, or sorry, for Australia versus West Indies. Has anyone got... Oh, no, I know South Africa have got an ODI series, I believe. Oh, he's gifted another one. Arthur's on fire at the moment. Thank you very much, mate. International cricket, we're just going to have a quick look. South Africa, they've got New Zealand. They've got a little break before those matches. Where are we? Yeah, so the first test is on the 4th of Feb. I thought they had some short format matches, but they might not. Which is surprising. I thought that we were playing them in a few short ones. Thanks, Arthur. Says Dry Tone Down Under there as well. So Amelia was the one who managed to get that membership, but the second half for this game, ladies and gents, just around the corner. It has felt like a little while. We've actually covered a lot of topics, whether that's the UFC, all sorts. But yeah, Johnny Walker versus, I think it's Ankalaev this weekend will actually be quite good. That's today. Ooh, I've just had the realisation. Well, that's a bit of fun. Ricky Simone on that card versus Mario Bautista as well, I just saw. It's a good card. Hopefully it delivers. Now the Bristol Bears and the Bulls both back out onto the field, ready to go for the second half here, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I should mention, there is another game around the corner. That being Stormers and their contest up against Sale Sharks. We are covering that one on the channel too. That is kicking off in an hour and 10 minutes time. So if you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I might stream some Red Dead 2 this morning, but that's if I can get StreamYard to work with my face cam, says Amelia. So hopefully it all works smoothly for you. I think players are ready to go. Sounded like there were a few last adjustments being made. But now we are ready to go for the second half, ladies and gents. 3 points is the difference. The Bulls up by the 3. And if this game, or the second half, is anything like the first half, I think it's going to go down to the wire. But Johan Rosen kicks it off down towards the 22. Nicely taken by Max Malins. You watch the NFL? I do not, unfortunately. It's one sport that I want to get into, but I know I'm going to have to commit a lot of time to really learning, if that makes sense. It's the same with the NBA to a certain extent. Like, I love watching it, but I only get to see one game every few weeks, so I feel like I don't follow it well enough, if that makes sense. Now, Kieran Marmion will put that ball up, and it has just drifted into touch. One moment, we're about to sneeze again. We are good. Our line out for Jan Hendrik Vessels is doing this OBS BS. Whenever I try and use my face cam on StreamYard, says dry tone down under. I've found sometimes with OBS, if you've got another thing open with a face cam, it can actually mean that your face cam doesn't show up on OBS. So if you load up, I think it's if you load up whatever you need to first, so StreamYard, without your face cam and then do it through OBS, I think it might hopefully work for you. But yeah, I think it's just in terms of what order you select your face cam can affect it a bit. But now Ambroise Papier, ball available for him and the Bulls. 90 seconds into the second half and already almost a gap opening up for the Vodacom Bulls, going off to the left-hand side. Guimeri, he's nailed in the tackle by his teammate. It's called his accidental offside. Looks like already there is an injury here, this time for Rowan Vermaak. Last thing that the Bulls want at this stage of the contest is any sort of serious injury for their main players. They have got a hectic few weeks just around the corner. First of all, though, before they get into the hecticness, they have got their game next week up against Bordeaux. That is an extremely important one. Then their game up against the Lions the week after could be considered just as important. Lions versus the Bulls, the rematch in 35 days' time. Then the Bulls versus the Stormers on the 3rd of March. And then the 24th of March, another game of the URC. They will be going head-to-head with the Dragons. So it just shows you, over the next 10 weeks, the Bulls have actually only got 5 games. Which is, I mean, it's quite good news for them in a way. It keeps that workload that little bit lighter. In terms of the Bristol Bears, what they have got just around the corner, they are a little bit in the same boat. They have got their game up against Northampton and Gloucester, and around that 70 days' time, but they have got a game up against the Crusaders, ladies and gentlemen. That is in 27 days' time. Should be a very good one to watch, and will be intriguing. Should mention the Crusaders are also going to be playing Munster during the pre-season. I believe that has taken place in early February. We have got their Connacht and Bristol. That is next week in their Champions Cup campaign, and then the game against Bath will be in 2 weeks' time. But it looks like the injury is serious enough to take him off the field. So Rowan Nokia now is out there for the Bulls. Yeah, not the change that they wanted to make this early on in the second half. believe that's about the 4th change we're seeing from the Bulls. In fact, no, sorry, the 2nd for them, and the Bears are on 4 changes at this stage. But now Marmion about to put the ball in. We've already seen 4 penalties won by the Bulls. That one was almost another one. It looks like there's a little bit of aggressiveness coming from both front rows now. They're not happy with the instability of the scrum. They're saying Lahif at the moment is on the yellow card warning, so if he does end up conceding another penalty at scrum time, he could actually end up going to the bin. Now, the problem that they've got is they've actually got the scrum feed here. So to end up with a penalty against you off your own scrum feed hurts enough, but to end up with a yellow card in that scenario could be pretty brutal. Go the Bulls, says Joseph Weber there. And now Marmion to feed the ball in again. Still only the 3 points difference between these two sides to get that bonus point that both sides will definitely be chasing. They do need to get it right 3 more times to get those 4 tries. Another penalty goes the way of the Bulls. Double blow of the whistle, and Lahif is going to be off the field. I just mentioned that it would have been. Okay. They are now going to be down to 13 by the sounds of it. Mainly because they have already made their sub at prop, which means that they have to play with, I think that's uncontested scrums at this point. Oh. Okay, so they're actually saying on the commentary that they feel that Gerhard Stennekamp was going in from the side, which actually meant that Lahif had no option but to cut in. So, might be a little bit unlucky there, perhaps. Just not quite being able to outwork the veteran or outthink the veteran in this case. Now, Jan-Hendrik Wessels does throw that ball in, nicely taken by Ruan Nokia as they are sitting 15 meters out from the line, trying to keep this rolling maul going forward. Been told to use it once. Now it looks like it's wheeling around here awkwardly. Jan-Hendrik Wessels taken down beautifully by the Bristol Bears. Or is it? No, they actually end up winning the penalty for the sack. Now, if they want to take the 3 points, that will give them a 6-point lead here. But I believe they will be kicking for the corner. Seeing as they've got the man advantage, they'll feel they've got the momentum. And Jan-Hendrik Wessels already making his way off the field. He knows what they're going to be doing. And that is that 5-meter line out. And like I've said, Bristol do not have another replacement for tight head. So when there is a scrum, it means that Bristol will be playing with 13 men on the field with uncontested scrums in that case. Nicely taken to the front again for Ludwig. It's gone down, and that's going to be a penalty to the Bristol Bears. The Bulls get it wrong. Ruan Nokia asking the question, was there an early hit, ref? Ref says it was completely fine. And it now means that the Bristol Bears have once again managed to survive on their goal line. That is probably about the 4th time so far this game that we have seen them right on the verge of conceding, but they just managed to hang on. And that is what they need to be able to get back into this contest, definitely with the man disadvantage. The Bulls have been pouring it on them though. And that is going to be something that we see throughout the rest of this game. Currently, the Bulls are the favourites. I should mention they are sitting $1.52 favourites in this match compared to the Bristol Bears, who are underdogs. And they are sitting as the $2.60. Now, Munster are also favourites in their respective game that is taking place currently in the URC. But now the Bristol Bears looking to get this rolling maul slowly working. Marmion, though, puts the ball up high, gets it down towards the halfway line where it is nicely taken by Sebastian de Klerk, but he does actually knock that one backwards. Jan-Hendrik Wessels was ready for it. Williams fires it out wide to Sergil Pedersen. Now David Creel going for the chip and chase, but it sits up again for Marmion, who decides to have a run of his own. Almost ends up running into a very dangerous area on the field with a few Bristol Bears players waiting. Bulls players waiting. Jansi van Rensburg joins that breakdown. Now Marmion goes off to Stephen Luatua, taken down well. About 41 metres out from their own try line here, the Bristol Bears. So some awkward falling on the ground has taken place. Now Marmion puts it high again, and that is somewhere that has been a bit of a difference between these two sides. The Bulls have been very good at contesting their own kicks, whereas in most cases, we've seen the Bristol Bears struggle to get that ball, although they've managed to turn it over in the breakdown. Nicely done there, inside ball. Luatua goes back on the outside. Some quick hands from the forwards for Bristol. Now, it will be Obitoye, got it away to Ogre. Marmion to McGinty. Decide to hang on to it there, McGinty. It looks like he's already pointing on the ground what way he thinks they should go. Good phase play here for the home side at Ashton Gate. Ogre hit a little bit too high there, but well pulled out of by Marcel Kutsia. Marmion across to McGinty with the inside pop pass off to Williams, driven backwards by Eindrichlo. Slowly but surely trying to make those meters there up to 7 phases. And the gaps aren't really opening up. Machunu with some great defence just next to the breakdown. McGinty, oh, that's going to be slapped down, but it is just a knock on against Sergio Pedersen. The crowd are booing, of course, because that is the 3rd time that we have seen a knock on. Some would say deliberate from the Bulls, but in that case, the good news for Sergio Pedersen. Oh, or did he? I thought he got 2 hands to it. But I think they're saying here he was in a position. Oh, at the replay, it doesn't look so good for Sergio Pedersen. Definitely because we've got to remember that's the 3rd time that there has been a deliberate knockdown. It looks like Luatua now is going to be making his way from the field. Or is he? Oh no, they've just realised that they haven't got any players. Of course, because they are on 13, or they have got 14 men on the field, one of which being a prop. Okay, so Ibitoye was trying to say, like, I'm happy to go off, but wasn't it a deliberate knockdown, so shouldn't I still be out there since it's a penalty rather than a scrum? But it is called as a scrum here. So it is 13 against 15. But scrums are uncontested. Now, that's not a terrible thing for Bristol in this game because they've given away 5 scrum penalties. Okay. Jan Hendrik Vessels, he knows his rule book. He was just saying, we get that they are down to 13, but they still need 8 in the scrum, don't they? So someone will have to stand in as a prop here. And Bristol Bears, uncontested, should retain. They haven't contained, or they haven't really retained the ball too much at scrum time. Here we go, uncontested scrums. Nicely worked in for the Bristol Bears. Now Marmion with the Salada dummy decides to use up a little bit more time. Very strategic, as that has now meant that the Bristol Bears have now got those men back on the outside. They will have to play with 13 for the next 4 or so minutes, I believe. Little grubber in behind from McGinty, little bit sneaky. Yeah, so I believe now they are still playing with the 13. Now, what would have been strategic for the Bulls would have been at the other end when they had that real early line out with still about 9 minutes remaining on the yellow card. They should have taken the scrum because that way they would have been up against a 13-man Bears side from then. That looks like it is going to be the penalty, though, for the VODACOM Bulls. Quick tap taken by Johan Goosen, who saw the space on the outside. It's about a 3-on-1. And now the chance for Devon Williams to charge forward. Some beautiful stepping. Puts the grubber in behind, and it just goes into touch. A great bit of work from the Bulls. The counter-attack was phenomenal. Somehow, though, they don't manage to score the try. They have been so close so many times. And Johan Goosen, he saw he had the numbers on his outside. The Bears have taken it quickly. They are only 2 metres out from their own line now. Pass back into the pocket. Kick downfield from Rich Lane. Not a lot of space to be able to find there. And the Bristol Bears back in position. Bulls back in position. Peterson kicks it in behind. Max Malins is back. Fires the pass up. David Krill trying to cut him off. Big shot on Bradbury. Do you know Hendrik Vessel played prop in high school? Says 10. It honestly doesn't surprise me. He's a really big hooker. Like, compared to some of the guys around. Like, he does look like he could have played prop. Does also look like he could easily slot into flank and no worries with his size. But yeah, that's a bit of a fun fact, really. There's a lot of guys like that have played certain position in high school and then have transitioned, whether that is being a forward and then gone to a back in some cases. Some of the guys who grew a bit earlier. Now McGinty and Marmion decide that the best plan is to kick this ball into touch. They are still up against a 15-man Bulls side, though. They've still got 28 minutes left in this contest to try and extend that lead further than 3. Currently 2 minutes remaining of that yellow card, though, for the Bristol Bears. They're asking how many. We weren't really being told, I don't think, by the Bulls. And Hendrik Vessels, there was hesitation at scrum time. And because of it, the free kick does go the way of the Bristol Bears. Hendrik Vessel's not happy about it, so he decides to just charge at the smallest player he could find on the field. Or they've called for the scrum. You might as well. It's uncontested, so there's no chance of losing it, theoretically. Well, at least there shouldn't be. If you lose an uncontested scrum, you just know it's not your day. Now 30 metres out from their own line. 1 minute remaining. The longer that they take to set up the scrum, the better off they are. In this case, the Bristol Bears. The Bulls will get annoyed soon. They'll feel like they're taking too much time off the clock. But is now the scrum. Marmion to feed that ball in. Sits up at the back uncontested. And now decides to put the boot to ball. Didn't get the distance on it, I don't believe, that he would have liked. Tried to go a little bit higher than long. Now available for Devon Williams. He hasn't quite got that kick the way he would have liked, but it goes into touch. The clock still ticking away. 20 seconds remaining of being with 13 men on the field. Williams so far, he's had a very strong game. That was probably his least effective play that he has had throughout the first 54 minutes. Aren't too far away from the sub being made of Laheath. He's had a big chat with the sideline men, trying to work out exactly what they need to do at scrum time. Like the commentator said, they actually felt he was a little bit hard done by getting that yellow card. That's going to be nicely thrown in. Now the rolling maul for the Bears. They've got 13 men still on the field, but as soon as we have a stoppage, whether that be a try or a penalty, they will be back to the full 15. Beautifully joining back in for that rolling maul of the Bristol Bears. Good transfer to the back, and now kick downfield from Marmion. Again, looking to get a little bit more height, putting the Bulls under pressure. Now Devon Williams, inside of his own 22, runs that ball out. Wide cut out pass, I think it was forward. And I think they're going to say it is play on just for now. Matthew Raynell says it's completely fine. Now across Ambrose Papier, man whose name we haven't really said too much. Unfortunately, the Bulls just haven't really had the possession throughout the second half that they would have been after. Anytime they've had it, it's normally off a penalty. So then we've seen the rolling maul. Papier back across, Johan Goosen. It's away to Elric Lowe. The big man, in fact, it's Harold Foster. Sebastian de Klerk on the outside. Now cut him back inwards. They are 22 metres out from the line. Guamedi having to try and step his way through, and he is working very nicely. Finds the offload to Ambrose Papier. Has his legs chopped out from under him. Gets back up to his feet and goes again. Now Guamedi goes off to Goosen. Jan Hendrik Vessels to Machuno. And they've managed to score just before the end of that yellow card. And that will extend their lead now to 15 ahead. Sorry, 15-7 at the moment. But Machuno, the big man, a replacement tight end, manages to score the try while his opposite number is sitting in the bin waiting. Come back onto the field. There's some great offloading from the Bulls to keep the ball alive rather than allowing it to go to ground. And Bruce Papier, was he held? He was close to held, but he does manage to keep that momentum going forward. And then Mochono getting the offload from Jan-Hendrik Wessels. And the Bulls get themselves that little bit more of a lead. That kick has gone over. Like I've just said, first try for the Bulls in any competition. That is why he was so happy. Now 17 points to 7 here. And Bulls, says Joseph Weber. And I should mention, now that they've managed to get themselves that second try, they are only 2 away from getting that bonus point in this contest, which I believe is more than doable with the momentum that that try has just created. The Bristol Bears kicking off long, probably hoping that the Bulls will put it straight into touch, but I don't think that's the way that the Bulls are going to be playing here. They want to be aggressive, moving it just outside of the 22. Now, I should mention Keegan Johannes is now out there on the field, the replacement for Ambrose Papier. Going to be putting this one high from just outside of his 22. It's another one that they've got slightly wrong there for Ibitoye. Oh, they're going back for the original advantage, and this time it is a Bulls scrum feed. This is danger for the Bristol Bears. They could end up with another man in the bin here, if not the same man, Laheath. We're about to see Remy Vakatava make his way onto the field. Not exactly a bad player to have making his way onto the field. He is going to be replacing James Williams, who did save a try earlier on. But Remy Vakatava, what can he do for the last 22 minutes of this contest? He's going to have to be on his A game. But we'll see how it goes for the Bulls. 10 tries, 32 tests for France. He's got a very dangerous running game. Defensively is going to have to be 100% as well. Keegan Johannes about to feed this ball in. Now the ball does go in. They won't be in any hurry to get this ball out. Yeah, see, Gerards. I can see what they're saying because he does angle in with the way he is scrummaging. I don't know whether or not that is because he is wider than Laheath, and maybe that is why he's finding himself slightly pushing inwards. But yeah, I can see why the commentator did call him out on it. I won only South Africa capped last August versus Argentina as information they've got for Stennekamp. So actually the same amount of caps as he has got the number on his back. Now another scrum here. 20 minutes remaining in this contest, and the Bulls are looking to try and play up against the Bristol Bears side with less numbers on the field for those final moments. Now Keegan Johannes does feed the ball in. He's done well there. He's done he's been penalised though. It's actually the far side this time who has wheeled away. Machunu gets the credit. The Lucy put a knee on the ground. So that is now 6 penalties against them at scrum time. Luckily though, for the Bulls, it does not lead to another yellow card. But it does lead to another penalty. Now Johan Olsen will be able to kick this one out of the field of play. Doesn't opt to go for pure distance, but more making sure that the ball goes into touch. They'll be 25 metres out from the line here with another rolling maul chance, which they have gone to time and time again. Nicely contested there. And line out time almost slapped away by the Bristol Bears, but the ball is just on their side. Keegan Johannes now going across. Ball's about 30 metres out from the opposition try line. Marcel Kurtzia tackled well by Stephen Luatua. Keegan Johannes, the ball was loose. Has been cleaned up by Marcel Kurtzia, but a lot of pressure being put on him by Daniel Thomas. Well, Johannes again goes across to Guemeri. Bears defence at the moment, managing to force them back quite a few metres, and it actually causes Johan Hussen to have to kick this ball. Now it's gone high. And under the high ball, the Bears have been pretty shocking. We have got there, I know right, Africans Mintz, says Tian. And now back across to the left-hand side. There is a new penalty advantage, I believe it is. Marcel Kutz here. Leaving that one behind. Good run from Hussen, but he's lined up by Laheath, letting out some of his scrum frustrations, although he might have hurt himself in the process there, Laheath. Harold Foster, again with his carry. We haven't seen a huge amount of him so far today. Huameri, though. Seen him have the carries quite a few times. Might have been a partial knock-on the ground. Sebastian de Klerk, good step. Tackle well by AJ McGinty. Hey, howdy, hey, y'all, says Scrum. Let's welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well, Katie. Now Nokia, driven onto his back. Now Johannes again goes across the Stennekamp. Good commitment in the breakdown from the Bears, but they don't get the ball back. Now Nokia slips. Looks like they might even consider a drop kick soon here, the Bulls, if it does set up that way, although I'm sure they'd love to get themselves those tries rather than the 3. Yeah, I think they considered a drop kick for maybe half a phase, then went, no, actually, we need some more tries that'll kick him behind from Johan Hussen. Sits up on Max Malins, who backs himself to get through Harold Foster. Wasn't able to do so. Huameri in off his feet, and he's won the ball for the Bulls. He's done extremely well there. Referee said play on. Going back across to the right-hand side now. Johan Hussen numbers. Devin Williams gets selfish and tries to go himself. Didn't go to the man within Sebastian de Klerk. It almost cost them the try, but they've still got a chance here. Van Rensburg, it looks like it is going to be the try. Yes, it is. The Bulls have managed to score up well too, Hamish, says Scrumless. But the mistake from Malins to not get rid of that ball. They want to check this one for Elric Lowe of whether or not he did go again. Yeah, there's a knock on there from Gormedi on the ground anyway, but I don't think they are going to check it. No, they're not. Then Elric Lowe somehow gets their hand out in front. Beautifully done by the number 7. Just fingertips. Oh, yeah, slightly throws it at the line, but still had the hands, or still had some control. Oh, or did he? He might have had the, as some would call it, the naughty finger on the ball, and it might have been just long enough. Looks like Johan Olsen's pretty keen to take this kick quickly, though. Strategic from the veteran. Now 15 minutes remaining, and the Bulls are 1 try away from that bonus point. I mentioned from the get-go that both of the sides would have been chasing, and I have to say they have been the more clinical side here, the Bulls. The way that they have been able to attack throughout the second half, making the most of that advantage early, and now really reaping the rewards. Great kick from Johan Hussen from the touchline. Does now make the score 24 points to 7 in favour of the away side. Should mention next week, these sides are going to be in action again. They will not be playing each other though. For the Bulls, they have got a very crucial game up against Bordeaux. At this stage, it does look like that will determine who finishes at the top of the table. And then for the Bristol Bears, they have got their game just around the corner. I believe it is going to be up against Connacht. Yes, it is. That is 9 a.m. on the Saturday morning. The ball being rolled back by Keegan Johannes. Will once again go for the up and under. Not much commitment shown from Ibatoye, but Max Malins does well. Thought about the offload option. I think about 4 Bristol Bears forwards were ready for that one. That's kicked him behind. Jansi van Rensburg trying to chase it, but it's cleaned up by Devin Williams. Just too much pace at the back currently for the Vodacom Bulls. Back across to this left-hand side, Machunu. Another carry since his try. Now rolling it back again, Keegan Johannes. Then up, putting the ball up high. Nicely taken by Max Malins. It's knocked out of his hands, though. Has gone backwards. They say play on. Luatua. Bit of open space for him. Look for the offload. Finds Jan-Hendrik Wessels. And there's a chance that the big man, yes, he does get there. And that is now the bonus point for the Bulls. Mistake made by the veteran Luatua. Hendrik Wessels says, yep, that'll do me, thank you. First try in the Champions Cup. Just scooped up. Hands the size of baseball mitts. And manages to get it nicely. Kicked away by Ibatoya. He is frustrated at the moment. The Bristol Bears, they have been going for those offloads quite often throughout this game. Sometimes they've paid off, but other times the Bulls have just been that little bit too strong. Job done. That's a relief, I'd say. Yeah, it was close. Like at halftime, both sides well and truly still in it, but the Bulls just have shown their class in the second half, and they've just shown as well how their points differential is so impressive in the URC with that plus 112. This is the reason why, because when they start finding momentum, they just go and keep going. Now, I mean, with 12 minutes remaining, their points differential is going to skyrocket. And this as well, looking through, we will go like this, and we will go like that. As you can see, their points differential, like it's plus 10. It's not bad at all. Currently, with the game sitting the way that it does, their points differential will actually increase to plus 34. They are slowly trying to catch Bordeaux. Saracens will have to do them a solid in terms of being able to beat Bordeaux. Then that would also cause interesting things to happen to the overall table. So yeah, it's still no one guaranteed that top finish, but the points differential of the Bulls in this game is certainly going to help them. The halfway line now. Bulls, a little bit of a counter ruck there. They've thought about taking the ball. Gamedi. In fact, they were going to be allowed to take the ball there. I think Daniel Thomas was a bit unlucky. Didn't fully commit because he didn't want to give away the penalty, but he would have been able to steal that one. Now Keegan Johannes from the halfway line. Another kick up high. Going back for the penalty this time. That is for offside. Bristol know that they have to try and take it quickly. Max Malin's beautiful pass off to AJ McGinty. Trying to step through. Short ball to Jansi van Rensburg. But every time there is a Bulls defender ready to make that next tackle. And that is why they are such a good side. Not only do they know how to score tries, but they know how to stop the opposition from scoring them. Now Thomas. Crowd behind the Bristol Bears here. They want to see a try coming from their side. Oh, yeah. It's a badly timed yawn because they are inside of the 22 here for the Bristol Bears. That could be because it is 6 a.m. here in New Zealand. Virimi Vakatava, his first touch, and it was turned over by the Bulls. First touch of the day, not releasing penalty against Bakatawa. Be disappointed with that one, I would think. Looks like a bit of stretching happening for Sebastian de Klerk, getting some ice on the calves. It's been a hectic pace of a game, but just getting smashed from the side. Marcel Kurtzia put in a big hit. No one was ready for Virimi Vakatava's breakdown. Like I've said, because they like to offload so often, the Bristol Bears, it does mean that it's very tricky for all the forwards to be in the right place at the right time. Johan Hussen making his way from the field. Also alongside him, Daniel Thomas and Stephen Luatua. Two men for the Bristol Bears getting subbed off. Both in that loose forward trio. That'll be for Owen. Also for Heenan. Chris Smith, I should say. I do see has made his way onto the field for the VODACOM Bulls also. So I think a majority of changes have been made for both of these sides at this stage of the contest. But Keegan Johannes now going off to the left-hand side. Big shot coming in. A great attack and run from the Bulls replacement 23, Gamedi again. Moving up to 22 metres out from the line. Short pass, Ruan Nokia. Does well. But the turnover is clean. Another sneeze for the road. 9 minutes remaining, and Johannes, they say he's knocked it backwards. Although the Bulls have still considered that breakdown penalty. Taking the quick tap. Here comes Callum Sheedy. Thought about the wide pass the back. Sorry, it's not Callum Sheedy. It's actually Harry Randall who is making his way forward. Now no one ready. And the breakdown and the counter-ruck from the Bulls, just enforcing that physicality out there on the field. One moment, we are about to sneeze. We are good. For now, anyway. 8 minutes remaining. Now, once again, Johannes, he finds himself near the halfway line. He will once again put it high. At the end of the day, they've got the lead that they were after. They've got the bonus point that they were after. Nicely taken by AJ McGinty. Sold the dummy. Goes across now to Veremi Vakatava on the short side, who once again they target in the breakdown. Not quite turned over for the VODACOM Bulls. Nice bit of work. Nice passing out wide. The Bristol Bears up to the halfway line. Big run forward. I think that was from the lock. I hope I don't miss a big scrum. No scrum, no beer. Says Cool Story Bro. Well, we have seen 6 scrum penalties won by the VODACOM Bulls. We have seen uncontested scrums in this match. So you probably missed a few. But yeah, overall, very dominant performance from the Bulls. Although it looks like maybe there's still a bit left in the tank for the Bristol Bears. Ibatoye. Or more. So there might be an injury for Ruan Nokia, who has decided to stay down. Bristol just not able to find that next offload that they needed. Now going off to the left-hand side, McGinty with the cutout pass. Out wide, Jansi van Rensburg. That's another injury. Sebastian de Klerk, they've lost 2 players. That's playing it on the ground badly. From Elric Lowe, now he's hanging on to the ball. And it's going to be a yellow card more than likely. For Elric Lowe, yes it is. He nods, goes, yep, I know, but I did it for fun. And 64 watching, 24 likes, smash the like button, y'all. Says Scrumless. I was at a laugh based from his Cool Story Bro. And that was well, but yeah, Elric Lowe, he knew that wasn't going to change the outcome of the game. He knew that it was going to use up a little bit more time as well, so he was like, I might as well just grab this ball. I am on my knees, but see how it goes. And that G's says Scrumless. I can't wait to watch 2 minutes of awkwardly edited URC highlights. They don't do extended highlights of the URC, do they? Although, luckily, this is Champions Cup. So you might be able to get about maybe 7 or 8 minute highlights with the Europeans Champions Cup YouTube channel. Now the Bears with Will Capon. Can they sneak a try near the end? Oh, big bit of work there from the Bulls now. Capon is to try and go through again, but Jan Hendrik Vessels was ready for it. Going off to the right-hand side, Lehef. One of his first runs, mainly because he has been yellow carded. He's also had to worry so much about the scrums. Harry Randall. Nice little sell of the dummy. Matunu says, have a wedgie. Get that up here. Now Lehef moves to only about 10 metres out from the line here for the Bristol Bears. Off to the right-hand side. Another carry, this time from Joe Owen. Randall goes across the Vakatava. Quick hands. Jansi van Rensburg. It will be the try for Ibatoye. Which South African teams are in the URC still, beside the Stormers, I'm guessing. CA's Cool Story Bros. So the URC side of things, like the Lions are, I believe, in 11th. I've got the table here. Yeah, Lions in 11th, Stormers in 6th. Oh, sorry, 7th, and then the Bulls in 6th. And then alongside that, you've got the Sharks in last. I believe they are still sitting. Oh, no. The Sharks made a little bit of a boost up. If I'm correct, they might actually be about 12th at the moment after their last win. Western Province, the competing in South Africa, they are for the Curry Cup. But yeah, normally considered Stormers for the URC for the region. But yeah, they've 7th at the moment. Nice bit of work from the Bristol Bears. Ibatoye. The crowd are booing. What are they booing? I think they might be booing because of how long it is taking for the Bulls to get back to halfway. They are just casually strolling. Should mention that kick was missed as well from the touchline. It was always going to be a tricky one, but they didn't want to use up too much time. 2 more tries for the Bristol Bears would give them the bonus point. 3 more tries, all converted, believe it or not, would actually give them the win. But there's only 5 minutes remaining. Shotman looking well. Says, cool story, bro. Now, Bristol Bears. Another gap opening up. Little flick on the inside. That will be knocked on. No, they say backwards. I think Raynell has let a lot of knock-ons go in this game. But at least he's been consistent. Going off to the left-hand side. Okay, and Matthew Raynell also just saying, please stop your players from yelling at me, captain. Back across to the right-hand side. Capping again. Now McGinty. Nice offload. Looking for another one. Ibatoye. Cross kick almost worked out. He didn't actually mean to kick it crossways. But has gone into touch. The Bulls with another line out here. Running very low on time. Like I've said, the most energy we've actually seen from this Bristol Bears side, unfortunately they left it till too late. They allowed the Bulls to get back into the contest in the early stages of the second half with a few quick tries, and then they were gone. And Hendrik Vessels walking over to the line out. Just a little bit under the 4 minutes now. Lefton Kutsi has actually been taken off the field for Slaberg. Another change. That is blood replacement though for Marcel Kutsia. Now Machunu getting tackled there, 40 metres out from his own try line. Mbros Papier. Be rolling this one backwards. Martin Zima there to protect. Should mention that in 23 minutes time, ladies and gents, we have got another live stream that is going to be the Stormers in their game when they take on the Sale Sharks. So if you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to stick around for that game. I have a feeling it will be a little bit closer than this one. I believe my prediction for this game was the Bulls by 15. It's not quite correct. They're actually up by 19 at the moment. So this is about as close as we could be. Ibatoye, beautiful football skills to be able to control that ball. Look for the offload. Doesn't work out. Okay, there go the Stormers. Says scrum last there. You can see the frustration with the Bristol Bears. It is evident now. They know that they've lost this game and they know they've been outplayed. These final moments, they've at least had a little bit of extra something on there, but it still just hasn't been enough. And the Bulls, they'll be walking away with 5 tries. I think Eldrick Lowe, they have just said, has ended up being player of the match by the sounds of it. A moment. We are good. Oh no, in fact, it's Devin Williams who received player of the match for this contest. Now Matthew Raynell just getting a little bit of water. We had a half stoppage there for Gumeri, who is back to his feet though, which is a good sign as he has been a very, very handy option for the Bulls at number 8. We can see there on the sideline Cornell Hendricks alongside Devin Williams, congratulating him for getting the player of the match. Now only about 150 seconds remaining in this contest. And we've got another scrum. This is actually how, I guess you could say, how the problem started for the Bristol Bears. Unfortunately, they just weren't quite getting it right at scrum time, which was hurting them big time. Our ball is fed in. Nicely done. Huamedi breaking off the back. and almost put into touch, but just manages to stay in the field of play. Keegan Johannes, another offload there. Bulls going for, was that a drop goal? I think it's a grubber is what you'd call it. It's rolled along the ground. Now, it does mean that it will be a 22 dropout for the Bristol Bears. Just a technicality at this stage. They decide to kick it short, and they manage to get the ball back. Good bit of work there from the big man in the front row, Will Capon. Now space, Barimi Pakatava gets the pass on the outside. Here comes the option to go on Rich Lane. Like they'll see Bristol. The clock is going to be against them. But they still don't want to give up. This is the type of fight that the crowd wanted to see from the first whistle. Cross kick there. Ibatoye is not out wide. Instead, it is in... Who is that? That is the replacement, Joe Owen. Now knock on from Jan-Hendrik Wessels. No, wasn't him. It was the replacement for Jan-Hendrik Wessels. The Bears now one last attack. That ball just put down from Langi there. Is there going to be one more try for Bristol? I mean, it would help if they didn't convert. My prediction of Bulls by 15 would be 1 point off, which is way closer than I normally am with predictions. But I have a feeling that more than likely we will see another scrum penalty won by the Bulls, just because that is the trend that has happened throughout this game. 6 penalties given away by Bristol at scrum time, including that yellow card of Lahif that has just shut them out of the game in that regard of trying to get that momentum flowing. Now ball about to be fed in by Harry Randall, who has looked good off the bench, replacing one of the only try scorers for the Bristol Bears. But now Randall goes short side. He's smashed, sat down by Chris Smith, who tied up the bootlaces. Now breaking off the back. There might have been obstruction. They're going to check it anyway, but Bradbury might have just got himself a try, or it might be a penalty to the VODACOM Bulls. On-field decision is try. How much obstruction is in play? Now, sometimes it's not so much about how much he's obstructing, but if he is in front of the player who is running, that is normally straight away the penalty. That's the last thing that they want here. Congrats, Bulls. Says Scrumless. But yeah, very good performance. They will walk away with the 5 points in this contest. Right, we're about to see it here. They were saying they were being held in. Nokia. He's got his shirt. He spins out. I think this is going to be a no try here. Oh, hang on. Matthew Reynell said nothing clear. Nothing clear from either of the refs, so it is going to be the try. And Bristol get a little bit further back into the contest. And that is Magnus Bradbury. So that'll be a bit of frustration for Nokia near the end of this contest. Pretty much being told you were seeing things and feeling things when the guy grabbed your shirt. That kick is missed from McGinty. The Bulls will win this game by 14. So we were 1 point off with the prediction, but we will take that every day of the week. And I'm sure the Bulls will take this victory as well. 31 points to 17. Walking away with the bonus points. So they'll actually take them up to 10 points and put them into second in Pool 1 as we currently sit. Lyon, they will be in third. Bristol do not receive any points, and they will get a little bit of a points differential deficit, sitting at minus 31 now. Bit of ground to be made up, but there's still a chance that they can still go through. They've got their game up against Connor, the bottom of the table. That will be next week. But the next game we have got, ladies and gents, that is going to be the Stormers when they do go head-to-head with the Sale Sharks. That is kicking off in 20 minutes' time. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We are going to be popping away for a little bit, then coming straight back and rearing to go for that next contest. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, sure leave a like and subscribe. Good shout. Thanks for the commentary, Hamish. Says I was here. And also thank you for the stream, Hamish. Says Scrumless. No worries at all. And like I said, back in 15 minutes, ready to go for another stream. Thank you very much, Arthur. And yeah, we will see you all for the next.